All sports, all the time.
There's heroes and there's legends. Heroes get remembered. Legends never die.
This is the Spoken Podcast.
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
I'm your host, Lance Twidwell.
Man, that kid, he can ball, man. He can ball.
Touchdown, Kansas City!
Patrick freaking Mahomes, baby!
Let's talk some sports, because that's what we're here to do.
You are tuned in to The Spoken.
This is the Spoken Podcast. I'm your host, Lance Twidwell, here inside the Starcade Media Studios with my guy, Trevor Twidwell.
What's good?
Episode 318 is in full swing, full motion. We're so happy to be here with you and for you to be here with us, whether you were live streaming, podcasting, or YouTube. We want to thank you so much for taking the time to be with us in this time as we have a mid-summer season show for you guys. We have a dead spot in the sports world, if you will, unless you're a big-time follower of soccer or a big-time follower of baseball. UFC, obviously. There's obviously still stuff to chew on and watch, but we all know as we're watching this, as we're talking together, this is kind of the dead time of the sports year. So this is the time to catch up on your shows. And when I say shows, I mean shows like ours. I'm not talking about just the HBO shows. I'm not talking about the Netflix shows. I mean, those are always going to be there. But we do this every single week, and we hope that you guys want to tag along with us as we do this all year round, man. We're really excited to be here. After the 4th of July, I hope everyone was safe. I hope nobody JPP'd themselves, and everybody is having all their digits here in the show, because that's actually very important. And I'm going to tell you why, because every single episode we do a segment called Speak It, where we give you guys the platform and the opportunity to take over the show with all your questions, comments, takes, concerns, whatever you guys have for us. We need you to use all them digits and type and get to typing in that comment box. And that is the most important part of the show. We tell you at the top, we tell you at the bottom. If you'd be so kind, go to youtube.com, go to the Spoken Podcast, hit subscribe, notify, share, all that stuff. But the most important part is to comment. We want you guys to be a part of the show. It is not us talking at you. It is us talking with you. This is a community-driven show, and we hope that you guys are having fun with us every single week. And we hope we sound good, too. I don't know if the audio obviously sounds... We want that to make sure that sounds good as well, because we know that it sucks to listen to a show that sounds like two robots trying to chime back and forth. So we want to make sure that you guys are enjoying this at all times, every single week, and that you are a part of it and feel like you're a part of it, because you literally are. Trev, how's your week, man? How was your 4th of July with the kiddos? Did you guys have a good time? And how's everything going for you, buddy, overall?
Yeah, man, everything's good. I actually just ended a 90-day diet that I was on, so I've been just ended it yesterday. Ready to eat some pizza today, man, for the first time in months. So probably gonna get some pizza, maybe an Italian sandwich,
get some chicken in me,
something like that. Yeah, just get some foods I haven't had in a while, and then kind of get back on the horse though, and keep the healthy lifestyle continue, because I like the results I got. And I had to fix my metabolism, man. It was in the shitter. So, but yeah, outside of that freedom from that 90 days, just spent some time with the kiddos yesterday. Made some Sundays. Yeah, man, chilling, bro. Ready. This is that, like you said, this is that time of year where there's not that much going on. There's not too much shifting. Although there's some like trades going on in the NBA. Other than that, not too much. Baseball's kind of in that still early stages of the year. Not too much going on there yet, but I'm good, man. Ready to talk some ball. Ready to get this football season rhetoric moving forward. So
yeah, that's exactly where I'm at. I'm starting to get that vibe, that feeling of, man, I'm ready for Sundays to have football again, man. It's mostly because of the feeling of my clothes being pasted to my body due to the humidity. Yeah. That has a large, part of the reasoning for that, but also just I do simply miss watching football, and I'm getting that itch again, man. So because of that, without further ado, Trevor, it is time for Lance Rants.
Gotta scream! Yeah! We're back on motion! The road's gonna go big! Woo!
You guys know how we do things around here. You're fully aware that we are a show that we consider our show a show of honesty. We give you guys exactly how we feel whenever we feel it. We give you guys exactly what we're thinking whenever we're thinking it, and we keep it, as they say, 100. We are a show that wants to make sure that everyone feels that they know exactly where Trevor and I are at all times. We want to know exactly where you guys are at all times when it comes to the world of sports. I'm going to be just brutally honest with you guys today. It's been really difficult this offseason in particular, watching national and listening to national shows. I understand that we're in a generation and a time where a vast majority of these shows, their main objective is to garner attention, garner clicks, as we call the clickbait. This is the clickbait generation, and that isn't just in sports. Yeah, it's not just in sports. It's in every form of entertainment. It's in every form of discussion. We see it across the board, and it is so fucking exhausting. And that is why we have intentionally gone with the other approach of let's just give real takes, let's give real opinions, even if they're boring as shit, or they might be what they would consider a hot take. It's going to be honest, though. And it's not going to just be for clickbait, garnering attention, things of that nature. And I think that is why there's a constant combatants, a constant fight, a bucking of the heads between shows like ours and those types of shows on the national landscape, because we know the greatness of certain players in this league, the NFL in particular, NBA, MLB, things of that nature. We can appreciate those greatnesses without having to tear others down or tell half-truths or just flat-out lie. And that is what I want to go at directly today, because I'm going to be real, Trevor. You don't really know much about what I'm talking about today. I gave you a little bit of the rundown before we went live, but I'm coming for some heads today when it comes to the national media, because there's a real dishonesty that I just cannot stand for or take when it comes to Patrick Mahomes. I know this is going to sound like a fan just glazing his quarterback. It's going to sound like that to some people. But what I want to do is I want to do something that these national people aren't doing, and that's going to be using the facts to back my stance up. Because what we have here is we have a what have you done for me lately type of vibe, which is ironic in itself, but that's what they're going with when it comes to what they're doing in order to tear down who and what Patrick Mahomes is as a quarterback in this league. What do I mean by that? Well, let's just start from the very top here, Trevor, if we could. I saw this meme out there this last week on Twitter. I thought it was rather cute, actually. If we could put that on the screen. This is according to ChatGPT, what would quantify as the perfect quarterback. So if you look really closely, if you can't read it, I apologize, but I'll say it out loud anyway for the listening audience. They said that in order to have the perfect quarterback, they basically patched up all the quarterbacks in the league they think are the best at what they do. So you would have the arm strength of Josh Allen, the toughness of Justin Herbert, the football IQ of Joe Burrow, the accuracy of C.J. Stroud, and the legs of Lamar Jackson. I decided to just simply make a little, reply to this and said, the perfect quarterback has 0 combined rings. Funny how that works, huh, guys? How the perfect quarterback has 0 success, because you would think that would accumulate with the best or the perfect quarterback in the league. And I also found it funny that there was one name missing on all these attributes, who ironically is the perfect quarterback, if we're really going to be honest here. And that is what's so funny, Trevor, about the comments, is that I saw that even from non-Chiefs fans. They said, so they basically built Patrick Mahomes? Like, this is where we're at now, Trevor, with this situation, is that we have them now dissecting the perfect quarterback, and the one perfect quarterback doesn't have any part of the attributes. And then we have Sam Munson. Yes, the same Munson that made his way into our lives by working with pseudo companies like PFF, who make up analytical stats to seem smart and relevant. Well, here's his take on who had a bigger impact on the 21st century. Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes? Let's go and play that beautiful beat footage, Trevor.
Anything else on QBs here?
QB, I think it's relatively. I think that one is relatively simple. Like I said, the first two write themselves. Manning, Brady. Third, it's a debate. I struggle to put Mahomes above Aaron Rodgers because of how much he's done in his career.
You and I were you just said we were just on a panel of quarterback rankers,
Yeah.
of the Super Bowl era. And I think you and I both put Mahomes 4 above Aaron Rodgers. So are you backing out on that? Like I was surprised that you said that, because I agree with this list. I think Brady, Manning, Mahomes. If I'm separating Mahomes and Rodgers, you've got the statistical aspect. I think they're similar. I think Mahomes is closer to Brady and Manning as far as late games, game management, sack avoidance. I just think Mahomes at this point is a tick above Aaron Rodgers, even Aaron Rodgers at his peak. So I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine with this. So are you backing out on what you just sent out there a few weeks ago as part of this panel?
I think when you're talking, there's a difference between like who is better, who is more talented, who is,
don't say talented. Don't say talented.
No, shut up.
Don't say talented.
There's a difference between like who has a greater degree of ability or ceiling or whatever, and who has had a greater impact over this century, which is 25 years old, but we're only going to count 5 years for one guy. Like Rodgers has had a greater impact on the 21st century NFL than Mahomes has, I would say.
Okay.
In part because he's played for the majority of it and had it, like he's won a Super Bowl, multiple time MVP as well. Like Mahomes had incredible impact already in just a few short years.
See, I think
those few short years are so small compared with Rodgers.
I think it's fine to focus on a player's best 7 or 8 seasons as the main criteria, because then it's like, okay, just because Aaron Rodgers was born earlier, he's going to make the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's how these things work. I mean, Larry Allen doesn't make the team because he was born 5 years too soon and half of his career happened in the 90s. Like that's just the reality of it.
So what Sam's, I guess, essentially saying in all this is Aaron Rodgers has more value or had more of an impact on this era because he played more football. He played longer. Something that Patrick Mahomes and himself can't control because he wasn't born earlier. But then Sam wants to also reiterate the fact that, he wants to establish the accomplishments that Rodgers had. I guess we'll just ignore the fact that Mahomes has won 3 times as many Super Bowls and Super Bowl MVPs as Rodgers and 13 fewer seasons as a starter. Well, I guess we'll just ignore that Patrick Mahomes has literally the best statistical resume in postseason history and the second most playoff wins.
Already.
I guess, when I talk about clutch, because everybody talks about that, Trevor, we leave that part out, I guess, conveniently. How about we look at fourth quarter comebacks and game-winning drives since 2018 when Patrick Mahomes became a starter? Fourth quarter comeback since 2018. Patrick Mahomes has 19, Rodgers has 12. Game-winning drive since 2018. Mahomes has 22, Rodgers has 17. And then double chin Ben Roethlisberger decided to jump into the mix as well by putting up this cute quote by saying, when he was on his podcast earlier this week, quote, "I would take Aaron in his prime over Patrick now. Patrick Mahomes is just now entering out of his prime, I think. He'll go down as another arguable GOAT. I think Aaron in his prime is better." And look, we're not taking that quote out of context. That is literally the take. He makes a blanket statement, but then also wants to throw in that he thinks that Patrick Mahomes is on the outside of his prime now at 29 years old.
He's entering out.
Yeah, when Patrick Mahomes, over the last 2 seasons, had the worst wide receiving core in the league, either due to injuries or just lack of talent, an aging tight end, no left tackle, sometimes no left guard either because they're moving his left guard to tackle, and he led those teams to a combined 28 wins and 2 Super Bowl appearances. One of those AFC championships to get to the Super Bowl was in Buffalo, a place that people thought Patrick Mahomes couldn't win in, and he did that. And this is what he's saying when it comes to Patrick Mahomes being out of his prime. This is what we're literally walking into this season with, what Patrick Mahomes just did with what he had. And since Ben didn't want to, double chin Ben didn't want to, put any stats out there, this is from our guys at All Chiefed Up, this little Aaron Rodgers versus Patrick Mahomes stat, if you guys want to look at that real quick. So if you look at these numbers, successes, accomplishments, all these things combined, Patrick Mahomes is literally better than Aaron Rodgers at just about everything except rushing touchdowns. They're tied.
Interceptions.
And interceptions, yes. And that's not even a significant margin.
Not. Yeah.
You know what I mean? 70 interceptions in a 7-year starting span is insane.
With 270 passing touchdowns?
You know what I'm saying? Like, so there's literally nothing outside of a few more interceptions that Mahomes has thrown that Rodgers has been superior in.
Yeah, but he's got 50 more passing touchdowns than Aaron Rodgers.
Exactly.
With only 9 more interceptions. He's got 50 more passing touchdowns.
That's what, a 4-to-1 ratio?
That's what I'm saying. So the ratio is actually basically the same.
So Roethlisberger, I think it's because he got his cheeks clapped by Patrick Mahomes in his final playoff game that I think that there's a little bit of a bitterness and enviousness between those two, because we all know, like I said, he's ending careers. That's what he's been doing. That's what he does. And I just thought it was funny that Roethlisberger wanted to throw his hat in the ring and all this, when ironically Roethlisberger himself is only known because he won 2 Super Bowls. He wasn't a statistically great quarterback. He had like one season where he threw like 5,000 yards because he threw the ball like 700 times, literally like 700 times that season. Roethlisberger was not known for being an individually great quarterback. Roethlisberger was known for having success and being tough and having grit and playing big in playoff moments. That's what he was known for. And then, the best of them all, there's Chris Canty. This is the video that got me wanting to do this entire segment to begin with. I don't even want to say anything else. I just want you guys to hear what he has to say. I'm going to give you my response, and I want you guys to give me all the response you guys have in the chat. I haven't looked at the chat yet. I hope it's lively, but I hope you guys are ready for this one. This is Chris Canty, and this is a serious take.
We are one more average season by the numbers from Mahomes from having the conversation about who the best quarterback in the NFL is. Not who has the best resume, but who the best quarterback in the NFL currently is. The last 2 years, Patrick Mahomes, 27 touchdown passes, 26 touchdown passes. This past season, less than 4,000 yards passing. I mean, it was an average season by his standards.
People don't want to talk about that.
No, people don't want to talk about it because they're in the Super Bowl,
That's
right?
Exactly
they're getting to the championship rounds. They're going on deep playoff runs. People don't want to talk. But I mean, if the Kansas City Chiefs find themselves in a situation where they're not in the AFC Championship games, and Mahomes has less than 30 touchdown passes, and he has the kind of turnovers that we saw, we're talking about him having, 15 to 20 turnovers, then all of a sudden it's going to become a question of who the best quarterback in the NFL is.
AI is getting really good, in this era, and a lot of things seem too, real to be real, if that makes sense. Like, where you're like, dude, there's no way that's real, because it looks so real, but there's no way someone would ever say something that stupid. I'm trying to convince myself that was AI Chris Canty, because there's just no way that not only an analyst who's paid to have opinions would say something that stupid, but a former player would say something that stupid. I had a response to Chris. I directed it to him on Twitter. My response to this was, quote, "This exposes that either you're a shock jock fishing for engagement or you simply don't know shit about the game you once played. Either way, time to hang up the clown shoes," end quote. And I meant every single word of that, because what we have here, guys, is a problem with box score watching. Because now what we're doing is it's funny, Trevor, because I remember growing up, and you and I grew up in the same household. We watched football every Sunday. And what was it we always were told about what made the quarterbacks the greatest of all time? Wasn't it, we listened, we heard all the stories from Dad and all the other guys that we grew up with about Joe Montana, and why Joe Montana was so great. Not just because he had the 4 rings, which at the time was the tied record, but because he was so big in big moments, right? He was such a clutch quarterback, right? And that's what we were always taught. That's what makes you a great all-time quarterback. And then Tom Brady wins all those rings. That's why people call him the GOAT. It's not because he was the individually best quarterback of all time. We know he's not. Tom Brady's not the most outstanding quarterback we've ever seen. He's not. We all know this. But because of his accomplishments and his success, everyone calls him the GOAT. But it's funny, Trev, how the narrative completely shifts in the opposite direction when it comes to Patrick Mahomes. When it comes to him, it's, well, okay, but what about his stats last year? Let's ignore the context, too, to those stats with the fact that he lost Rashee Rice in the first month of the season, didn't have Hollywood Brown until week 15, lost Isaiah Pacheco in week 2, didn't have a true left tackle, lost Joe Thuney because he had to swing over to left tackle. I mean, Kingsley 𝚂𝙿𝙸𝚂 didn't work out at left tackle. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. All the things that Patrick Mahomes had to go overcome sets a record, a franchise record for wins for a single season, and roll back to the Super Bowl for the third straight season. And we're sitting here because he didn't throw 4,000 yards with that shitty-ass excuse of a wide receiver room?
This is the LeBron effect. The same thing that's going on with Patrick Mahomes, the same thing what LeBron went through.
Right.
And Patrick's had even more success than LeBron did even early in his early days. It's broken the narrative.
Right.
No one can pin a narrative to him because they keep having to move the goalposts. So they have to create new narratives every single time.
Right.
It's the same thing that happened to LeBron, man.
And
same thing is still happening to LeBron.
Chris had
Get used to it.
Chris had a nice little response to my tweet. I don't know if you can put that up there real quick.
Yeah.
He got a little sad. He got a little hurt because he couldn't handle.
Chris Canty got a little Chris Cunty.
Yeah. Chris Cunty got a little upset with me, guys, because I decided to give him some truth. Okay. Look, and I wanted to bring this up, Trevor. And then we're gonna, I want to get your thoughts, and I want to get the people's thoughts and everything. I had so much that I wanted to just fuel on today because this pissed me off. So you know what I did? I said, you know what? Let's go ahead and play the game. Let's talk about the statistics of Patrick Mahomes' career or season last year. Okay. Let's look at the numbers real quick. All right. So he had 67% completion percentage, 4,002 yards, 27 passing touchdowns to 12 interceptions with a 95 passer rating. That's pretty, it's whatever. Oh, shit, my bad. No, that was Peyton Manning in 2008 when he won the MVP. My bad. These are Patrick Mahomes' numbers. 66 completion percentage for 3,217 passing yards with 36 passing touchdowns and 6 interceptions with a 113 passer rating. Dude, fuck, my bad, guys. I apologize. I messed up again. That was Lamar Jackson in 2019 when he won MVP. I got the numbers. I promise, guys. I'm not going to mess this up again. This is, I got it right. It's right in front of me. 67 completion percentage, 3,678 passing yards to 24 passing touchdowns with 7 interceptions with a 103 passer rating. That was Patrick. Fuck. I'm sorry, guys. Shit. That was Lamar Jackson in 2023 when he won MVP. I promise you these are the numbers of Patrick Mahomes last season. I promise. 64 completion percentage, 3,731 passing yards, 28 passing touchdowns, 6 interceptions with a 101 passer rating. Those are... I did it again, dude. I apologize, guys. That was Josh Allen last season when he won MVP. I apologize, guys. No. Instead, guys, this is the actual truth. Patrick Mahomes threw more yards than every single one of these MVPs last season. Had a higher completion percentage than every single one of these MVPs and had the second highest touchdowns total that season compared to all of these MVPs. And we're sitting here talking about this man as if he's out of his prime, no longer the best at what he does. Do you realize how insane that is?
Average season.
I just listed off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 former MVPs. And their numbers and how Patrick Mahomes' last season were just as good, if not better. And don't give me the era bullshit, because 3 of those MVPs were within the last 4 seasons. Do not give me that. I don't want to hear era, because Peyton Manning played till 2015. Do not give me that. The disrespect has got to stop. This man is doing both putting up historic numbers while winning at a higher rate than anybody outside of Tom Brady, and we're sitting here questioning him. What in the hell are we doing? And this is not even a shot at Aaron Rodgers, any other quarterback. I'm not here to tear down Aaron Rodgers, because Trevor and I, we were very much of the belief this dude had GOAT ability.
That is my second favorite player of all time.
He is one of the most talented players I've ever seen in football. The way that man could throw a football was insane. And before Patrick Mahomes, I was like, dude, there's no one I've ever seen play the quarterback position better. But there is a caveat with Aaron Rodgers' career and legacy. And what is it? He has played small in big moments. In the playoffs, he has shrunk. Has Patrick Mahomes done that? No.
And ironically, he shrunk against the team that Patrick Mahomes beat in the Super Bowl twice.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're sitting here talking about how Aaron Rodgers at one point could have been the greatest of all time, and his best is better than Patrick Mahomes' best. Based on what? Statistics? That's not true. Based on what? Playoff success? We know that shit ain't true.
All they got is longevity, just because Patrick Mahomes hasn't lived as long as Aaron.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this is insane.
That's an insane.
But to your point, Trevor, and I'm hogging the mic here, but I'm going to pass it off to you right here because you made this point. The longevity thing is what they're using right now. But then when Patrick Mahomes gets to their age and he's blowing their numbers out the water, they're going to say, well, I mean, he played long. Just like they did with LeBron James.
But they want to use that for Tom Brady's
exactly
GOAT status.
Exactly.
Because he's played this long and it was good for a really long time. Like, what do we? This is what I'm saying. It's the same thing with LeBron James. The narrative was, early on in his days that we're glorifying him too early, and he's we're goating this man too early. Statue, what? All these things, and he continued to never stop being the best player in the league his whole career. And now it's like, oh, he's just played for a really, really long time. It's the goalpost movement, man. This is why I try to stay away from a lot of the nonsense. But these talking points just continue to persist, and it's just nonsense nonetheless, bro. And it is painful hearing guys like Ben Roethlisberger say these things, and it feels like kind of a get off my lawn because that was more of Aaron Rodgers was more of a Big Ben's era kind of guy. They were more in the same time frames, timeline of their careers, and they had more time against each other, so on and so forth. But even then, man, like I just don't even making these comparisons with, because like I said, Aaron Rodgers is my dude. Before Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers was my favorite quarterback of all time. And that's a guy I really admired and loved watching. Every time he was on, I watched his games just as much as I was watching Chiefs games. If I wasn't watching Chiefs games, I was watching Aaron Rodgers play football. That's my dude. So I get it, and I love the support and the touting of the greatness of Aaron Rodgers. But Patrick Mahomes is better than Aaron Rodgers, guys. This is not. It's not even remotely close at this point, especially success and the numbers along with it. Like, what are we doing here? So it is intellectually dishonest. It feels very armchair expert of Ben Roethlisberger to sit back and just say things that he feels and claim them as fact. When it's not, though. Like, right. The facts exist. Numbers exist for a reason. We have film. We have all these things. Everything you want to be a box score guy and focus on all these things that cater to your point instead of looking and without looking at the other side of the coin too. It's yeah, this is intellectually dishonest. And the Chris Canty stuff, bro, like I don't even have time for people like that. Like I just and a lot of times it is these ex-players too that have these horrendous takes, for whatever reason. I think a lot of it is just personal bias as being a player, and for whatever reasons, a lot of ex-players tend to shit on LeBron too, but shit on Patrick Mahomes for whatever reason, and I don't know. But yeah, man, I think your points. I think you've pretty much de-pantsed the whole take here, and it seems like every offseason too that there's some kind of new person, new talking head, new faux stat or possible projection of what Patrick Mahomes' downfall could look like, or the downfall that we're currently experiencing somehow. When he just went to his third straight Super Bowl, we have to somehow put, cold water on this man.
Right.
It's like every offseason there's some kind of attempt to take down what this dude is doing. And it's just, honestly, I hope this continues every offseason.
Right. Because
all this does is it just continues to give Patrick Mahomes, a guy who has no business having a chip on his shoulder every offseason. So you don't think this dude's going to come in and you don't think he hears this? He hears every bit of it. Patrick Mahomes is petty as fuck, bro. And Aaron Rodgers was the same way.
Right.
But Aaron Rodgers just couldn't get over that hump success-wise. I love the petty, because Aaron Rodgers was very petty too, and I always love or hate him for it. There's been some that's been to his detriment. Patrick Mahomes is more on the silent side of things. He doesn't speak out as much as Aaron Rodgers has over his career. But they're both very petty. They both hear it all. And they both like to shut the haters up. That's one thing that's very common between the two of them, let alone their fucking identical stats, for sure. But, yeah, I just, it's just, here we go again, man. Another offseason, another takedown job of Patrick Mahomes. Is just hilarious, bro. I hope it continues his whole career.
Well, and I want to also clear things up. The numbers I give you guys of the averages of Patrick Mahomes isn't just about last season. It's also the last two seasons when he had an even worse wide receiver room than what he had last season.
Yeah.
And the injuries and the incompetence that he had, and he still put up numbers that otherwise would have won him MVP any other season, according to what I just compared those other MVPs to. And again, guys, if you think that Aaron Rodgers or one of these other quarterbacks is better or was better than Patrick Mahomes, give me your reasonings. I hate the biggest the arguments I hate the most, Trevor, are ones that you don't even start. When you don't have anything to actually argue. You're not putting anything into it. You're just
think
saying
or you
stuff.
just feel.
Yeah, I cannot stand more than anything in a conversation with somebody when they just say, "Well, that's just what I think. That's just what I feel." It's like,
yeah, but you can't you can choose to like that person better, but you can't say that they are better.
Right.
If you like that person better, if you're an Aaron Rodgers guy or you're a Tom Brady guy or you're whatever, Lamar Jackson guy currently or a Josh Allen guy, and you want to just feel that they're better, cool.
Yeah.
But the fact still remains.
Right.
There is one at the top of the mountain still.
And that's a preference thing.
Right.
Like, that's what I want. That's what I'm trying to get people to understand here. Like, in any form of conversation like this, you have to be able to say, you have to be able to be intellectually honest about it. You have to say, I like this guy better. That's what I'm saying. Like, you have to say, I like this guy better. That's the LeBron conversation with MJ, and people just say what you're really feeling.
Yeah.
I like MJ.
Yeah.
It isn't you actually think he's better because you have nothing to back that up. You don't actually think Rodgers is the better quarterback because you have nothing to back that up. It's that you like Rodgers. You don't like Patrick Mahomes. It's one of the two or both. That's what it really comes down to. So be intellectually honest about it. Because I saw, and in credit, I actually just recorded a show a couple of days ago with our buddies over at All Chiefed Up. And I was watching their video before I went on that Mike put together, which was awesome. I don't even know how it didn't get the attention it should have, but please go watch it if you guys can. It's him dismantling a man that I otherwise respect in Colin Cowherd when Colin was doing the same thing, or it was a double-edged sword of how Colin was going about it, because back in 2018 when Patrick Mahomes first came on the scene, Colin's approach was, well, of course he's having this type of like lucky run because he's got all this around him.
Lucky.
Meanwhile, Tom Brady is doing all this with nothing. But then we see Patrick doing that same thing all these years later with the same amount of nothing, and we're sitting here downplaying what he's doing. But yet when Tom was doing it, it's this, oh my God, look how valuable he is. Look how he just overcomes this stuff.
Not even the same amount of nothing. Tom Brady had far better defenses,
he had
bro.
actual left tackle.
Yeah.
You know, like he actually had some of these things. Like Patrick Mahomes
in the worst division possibly in football.
And Patrick Mahomes was leading bad defense after bad defense for multiple years to the AFC Championship. So we never saw Tom Brady do those things.
Yeah.
He always had elite defenses that got him further. So the point I'm trying to make is, like Mike was in his video, is why do we change the narrative when Patrick Mahomes is the one doing the things that we used to hail guys and praise guys for? He's doing the things that Joe Montana and Tom Brady are doing, or did. He's doing those things. Why don't we give him that same reverence? Especially when he takes it to another level and plays better football than those guys do at an individual level. I don't understand it. I want someone to explain that to me. I have my theories. I have my reasons. I have things that I think it could be, but I don't really want to get into it because I'm not the one that stands on that ground. I want somebody who stands on that ground to tell me that reason, why we flipped the narrative the moment Patrick Mahomes started doing all the things all the former greats used to do. Please explain to me, how does guys like Justin Herbert get the praise and glory and credit they do when they've done jack shit in this league, both statistically and in postseason success? But yet every chart you'll see from national guys, he's in the top 10. But we're sitting here questioning whether Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. If you gave any other quarterback Patrick Mahomes' first 7 years, if you just took his name off it, pasted someone else there, we're naming goats after him. We're naming goats after him. But because we have this guy that everyone's sick of, that's doing everything and beating everybody, then it's like this, well, fuck him. Who's better than him? Let's find the next guy. Let's find the next guy. Fucking argument starts at 2. It does not start at 1. That's already solidified. And the real question, and the only question, is, who's the second best?
I think this clearly comes down to just clip farming, and I think controversial and contrarian television makes for addictive television. And I think that's what the analytics show that, and I think that's what made guys like, guys love him or hate him, guys like Skip Bayless, that they knew how to have have to draw the eyeballs,
Yeah.
and they knew how to draw the ears. And I think a lot. Honestly, I personally, conspiracy or not, I think a lot of these takes are fake.
Yeah.
I think a lot of these guys are paid contrarians. I truly do, which sometimes can make us feel silly for having a show dedicated to these numbskulls.
That's fair. That's
these
fair.
smooth ass brains.
Yeah.
But it could just be smooth ass brainness intentionally. You know, it could be paid smooth brains. I don't know, man. It feels like a ploy. If for whatever reason it works, and it works for us, it works. It gets us triggered. I'm sure it gets Patrick Mahomes triggered.
I like that. Though.
That's my whole stance every single time this stuff comes out.
Like, thank you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, thank you.
You don't think Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes have a massive chip on their shoulder already from the Super Bowl loss?
Yeah.
Now you're adding this fuel to the fire? Bro, keep it coming. I've been saying this since the beginning because we noticed this characteristic about Patrick Mahomes very, very early. And even Andy Reid.
Yeah.
Andy Reid hears it all too, dude.
Right.
He doesn't come out and say anything about it, but Andy Reid, remember when the Ravens were dancing their way to the AFC Championship? They had to meet us, and they knew that we were coming to Baltimore, and they were dancing in the locker room. And after we won, headed to Baltimore, Andy was like, "Oh, whoa, no dancing." Yeah. You don't think Andy Reid's fucking petty? Of course he's petty, bro. They hear all this shit, and they want to shut up and silence all the haters as well.
That was a good reference. I totally forgot about that.
Bro, I'll never forget that.
Was so good.
I was
that
like,
was
oh,
so
this
good.
dude's paying attention. And Harbaugh's his buddy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like,
That was his
whoa, we
understudy.
ain't going to dance right now. No dancing. We still got business at hand. And they went out there and clapped their cheeks. You know what I'm saying? So, like, this whole team, this locker room is very aware. And these guys have been here and done it already. Yeah. Even more so. Now we have experience on top of having the pettiness. You know what I mean? So us and our path to our fourth straight Super Bowl appearance is looking likely, in my opinion, because this is the fuel, and I don't know who's stopping it.
I love Julia.
Yeah.
I love Julia Gouli's last comment. She goes, "I'm not gonna feel bad. I'm not gonna feel bad for laughing at clowns because that's what you're supposed to do."
I mean, hey,
that's fucking fire. That's a bar right there,
Yeah,
dude. I ain't gonna lie. The chat's been live as hell, man. So you know what? I don't know how many questions we have, but I see our guy Shaggy Shane's in. Love you, bud.
Yep.
Our guy G Pick, Dustin Orton, obviously the great Julia Gouli is in with us. Lonnie Pyramid was, I think, the first to chat in.
Yep.
Cell 32 Alts here as well. Man, shout out to you guys, man, for being here with us the day after the 4th of July. Glad to see and hear you guys are all still on the other side of the ground, if you know what I mean. You're still up board. You guys are still doing your thing. We're glad
Captain
that you guys
James
are all
T.
here.
Kirk in the chat.
James T. Kirk? Oh, okay. Nice.
Just made an appearance.
Hell yeah. Welcome in, brother. But yeah, this isn't, like I said, I think Trevor's right about this. I think that, because I definitely I've mentioned this before, and I definitely agree with this. I definitely think there is that factor in play.
It's hard for me to believe that these people actually believe this. It's really hard for me to believe that.
And the only reason I even respond to Chris Canny in this regard is because I thought otherwise he was a pretty smart guy.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of other takes before. I'm like, man, he's a pretty well thought dude. That's why it just threw me off. I'm like, there's no way this same guy, and it's not even that I'm mad that people have a differing opinion of mine. I actually
Bart Scott was the
appreciate
same
that.
way. Remember Bart Scott?
Yeah.
Dude.
I appreciate actually difference of opinion because I think it makes for a better conversation.
If it's an actual competent point.
That's exactly my point. And when you don't really, when you're sitting here box score chasing and saying that Patrick Mahomes' numbers is the reason why you have to question whether he's the best quarterback in the league, then that tells me you're not really paying attention to the games. Because if you actually paid attention to how the games went these last 2 years, you would see that, one, Patrick Mahomes had to overcome a lot, and two, he fucking overcame it. That's the biggest point I don't understand. Like, why are we not praising him for saying, bro, yeah, he threw less than 4,000 yards last year. Did you see the guys he was throwing to? And he still got to the Super Bowl winning 15 games?
For the third straight year.
And every year we talk about how tough their
two
schedule.
MVPs the last 2 of those seasons.
I mean,
the postseason.
And how funny was it, Trevor, when they were rolling off all those victories? It's like, well, look at the scoring margin. You know, they're not beating the Christ out of teams. They're just not winning convincingly, Trevor. They're just not winning convincingly. Yeah. I don't think this team can get to the Super Bowl, and they make the fucking third straight Super Bowl. I mean,
one of my favorite takes too that's been going on this offseason is that the one-score game thing is going to sway back, and not in their favor. But wait. There's also another side of that coin in that take. What if we don't have as many one-score games because we are beating the Eagles' ass? Nobody ever mentions that possibility. You know what I'm saying? Like, everyone's like, oh, well, those one-score games can go their other way, and they may lose those games. But maybe we're not in as many one-score games because we're beating people by 10 more consistently.
Or what about this, Trevor?
You know what I'm saying?
What about this? What if they don't go the other way?
Right.
When you have the best
head
head
coach, continues
and
drives people nuts.
When you have the best head coach and quarterback in the league,
yeah, and one of the best field goal kickers to ice games, put games away.
Maybe it doesn't go the other way. maybe you just keep winning games because that's what you do.
Yeah.
Do you ever think about that? You know what I mean? Like, you know,
I just hate that. I hate that take so much. Man.
I know this is gonna be really silly, but hear me out, just because it's like a jump into the fantasy side of things. But like, like when like the main guy of a movie like always gets out like close to like the end, nick of time. Maybe that's just because he's really good at it. You know what I mean? Like maybe sometimes you just give him the benefit of the doubt of knowing that's just what he's at. That's what he does. Maybe that's just what Patrick Mahomes does. Yeah. Because as I recall, the one stat that no one talks about for some reason, Trevor, is the fact that Patrick Mahomes had 7 game-winning drives last season. We sit here and praise clutch. Kobe was so clutch. Michael was so clutch. Tom Brady and John Elway were so clutch. Patrick Mahomes was 1 game-winning drive away from setting the record last season. And no one talks about that. With that receiving core, name me his 4 starters last year.
With the rookie number 1 wide receiver.
Without a left tackle.
And an old Travis Kelce.
And he almost set the record. But no one's talking about that. We're sitting here talking about his fucking passing yards.
And Kareem Hunt coming off the couch to be our RB1.
I mean, bro, it baffles me. And that's why we said from the beginning of the show, and I'm going to say it right now, this is why I'm so excited about football being back. Because I'm with you, Trevor, and we're not going to give our predictions yet. But are we going to really sit here and say that we are not excited about this offense this year?
I mean, this is the most excited I think I've been since Tyreek Hill's been
gone. 100% yes. Yeah. Because I wasn't excited in 2023.
Yeah.
And I was actually pretty stoked about 2024 because I thought Hollywood Brown and Rashee Rice were going to be healthy.
Yeah.
And neither were. So with those 2 guys now in tow, with year 2 Xavier Worthy, with Jalen Royals, with Juju Smith-Schuster, with Nico Remigio, with Kareem Hunt, with Isaiah Pacheco, with Brashad Smith.
Yeah.
I'm full-fledged chubbing right now, bro.
Yeah.
Like straight up, full disclosure. Like that's where I'm at right now. So I'm with you. I'm as excited as I have been since 2021 when it comes to this offense. And I think that there's still things that this team has to overcome. They're not a perfect roster, but you can't name me 5 rosters better than this Chiefs roster right now. And when you have a top 5 roster with the best head coach and quarterback duo in the league, and I think it will go down as ever, what am I worried about? Like, I have to throw it back at them. What is it that I need to be worried about? Yes, there are questions at left tackle, but the Chiefs just invested a first-round pick at left tackle, and they paid a guy who played very well for several weeks with the 49ers. I feel hopeful about that position. There isn't a spot on this team that I'm like, oh, we are fucked. I did feel like that in 2023 at wide receiver. I had my concerns in 2024. 2025, this team is gearing up and rearing up to be one of the better versions they are. That's why guys like Nick Wright and other people that actually pay attention to the Chiefs said that in 2023 and 2024, those were the years that a Ravens, a Bills, or a Bengals team should have beat us.
Yeah, they had the MVPs, the best quarterback in football, right, on those teams.
And,
right.
Last I checked, the Chiefs went both their houses and stomped the yard on them.
Yeah.
Suckers got served. You know what I'm saying? I know it's 2 different movies, but you get my point.
It better be your boys.
You know what I'm saying? Your boy is really tripping. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm baffled by it. And I actually, like I said, Trevor, while we're having this show and like this therapy session for me right now, I feel so much more excited about the season than I have before because these are all going to be the receipts that I'm going to use at the end of the year, and I'm going to post that 12-minute video I always do every year of Jason McIntyre leading the way and all these other dipshits in the mix.
You're not worried about a Super Bowl hangover, Lance?
Yeah, I should have thought about that shit.
Come on.
29-year-old Patrick Mahomes with the loaded roster, man, that's probably going to be a 5-win season. Should have thought about that before you know what? Now I think let's just delete this stream, bro. We probably shouldn't even post this shit.
Pointless.
Can you guys, real quick, Trevor, can we post the picture of Men in Black real fast? Go ahead and put that on the screen. Guys, look in this light real quick. Will Smith's going to show you something. We're going to just delete the show right now because none of this matters. This season's done for the Chiefs, so let's go ahead and put that on the screen. Good, yeah. Go ahead and look at the flashy thing.
And done.
And scene. You don't remember shit. Been a fun show. No, so let's just get to the people, Trevor. I don't know what questions they have, but let's get it going, man. Because I want to get to the folks, man. They've been hearing me jab my jaws all day so far.
Yeah, we got a decent amount here. We got to keep them coming too, guys. While I go off on these here, Dustin Orton almost always is with the first question on the show every single week. He says, "Speak it. What TV show are each of you watching currently?"
TV show?
Yeah.
So I've kind of been bouncing around. I started The Penguin a long time ago and then kind of fell off of it. I love it. I actually just started that back up. Been watching a little bit of Mobland. That show's great, by the way. You guys should definitely watch that one. Finished up The Last of Us. This last season was horrible. It was the worst of them.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I will be honest with you guys, I have not been watching a lot of TV, period, this offseason.
Other
doing
than
a lot
Chris
of other things.
Canty.
Yeah, other than that, honestly, just been, like I said, on X. I didn't even watch that live.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are like probably the 3 shows I'm watching. I've been meaning to get on the show that you love, Trevor. The one Ben Stiller wrote.
Severance.
Yeah, I heard it's one of the best shows that he's like ever been put out.
Got to get on that. Severance is great. For me, definitely Mobland. I finished that one a few weeks back. Mobland is awesome. Anything Tom Hardy, I'm in. I just finished this show called Riverfront. It's actually really good. Finished watching
it's on
that
Netflix,
one.
right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
It has like an Ozark kind of vibe to it. Very similar. It's not as gritty, not as good.
Has a dude from Lights Out in it.
But it's good. It's good. It's a good, like, messed up family kind of situation. I just finished watching that. I'm gonna start. I haven't watched the new season of The Bear yet, but I'm gonna start watching that pretty soon. And there's also a new show, Jason Bateman show, I think, and Jude Law, Jason Bateman show that just dropped. I want to watch that. I think it's on Netflix as well. So those are the ones I've been currently watching. Waiting for Stranger Things later this year. Me and my daughter are stoked.
12 years in waiting.
I know, right? They're all in their 30s now.
They got AARP plans now.
Yeah. But definitely going to probably binge The Bear this weekend. No, I'm not going to lie. I'm probably going to watch the shit out of that. Love that show. But that's what we're on, Dustin, man. Let us know what you're watching, bro. Cell32 Alt. How do y'all think Ilya versus Islam would shake out?
Ilya versus Islam is going to be an interesting one because it's such a clash of styles.
It's a matchup right there, man.
Ilya Topuria is such a boxer-style fighter. He loves to toe-to-toe it. You know what I mean? Hang and bang. Which is the style I prefer because I think you get better results, quicker results. That isn't such a long, tenuous process.
And he's got very good takedown defense.
But Islam is a world-class grappler. And... man, I think those are such hard fights to predict because we remember when Josie Aldo and McGregor fought all those years ago. Everyone's like, man, Josie's going to try to get the ground game going. He's going to try to keep McGregor at bay. And that made sense. And then 14 seconds later, McGregor's holding the belt because he knocked his ass out. And that is what I think Topuria could easily do in this fight. And that's all respect to Islam. Islam is one of the greatest fighters I've ever seen. And the dude's like, what, 20-1?
Pound for pound, arguably the best fighter alive right now. Yeah.
He's stupid great. But Topuria just keeps killing kings. He's just rolling through all the best. It's like a John Jones type of... I'm not over-exaggerating this. This is a very John Jones-esque type of run he's on. He's not just beating greats. He's knocking them the fuck out.
Also McGregor-esque, too, with the just grabbing 2 belts now.
Yeah. He's the third guy to ever do it. Like
17-0.
It's insane, dude. So... I'm going to go with the hot hand here. I am going to probably say Topuria will beat Islam because his hands are just the truth, man. But look, would I be shocked at all if we find out it's a 5-round UD because Islam just slowed Topuria down, kept his hands at bay, got him on the ground a bunch of times? No, I would not be shocked by that. But if I'm putting money on this fight, it's Topuria by TKO. And I know that sounds disrespectful to Islam, but it's not.
I don't think it's disrespectful at all. We'll get to that later. Speak it, Dustin Orton. Speaking, if you could create a Chiefs trade, what would it be?
That's a pretty broad question. I think just because of the fact that I value left tackle so much, I would probably...
I would say Trent Williams, but he's already getting old, bro.
Man, Laramie Tunsil's probably still arguably the best left tackle.
Second best, I would say. Trent Williams is still.
Trent was so old though now. I mean, who knows? And if he stays healthy, you're probably right. But
yeah,
I would probably make a trade for a left tackle. It depends on like what are the implications here? Like, do I have to give up like a ton of shit? Like, does it have to be more of a realistic trade? Because obviously you want to go for like the best guys. So yeah, I would say like either going after one of the better left tackles in the league or going and getting like Myles Garrett. You know what I mean? Like going and getting just an absolute wrecker on the outside that can just totally change this entire defense. Because if you had like a Myles Garrett or a TJ Watt on this defense, this is the best defense in football. Yeah. Because that secondary is just going to be sitting back, chilling. Because you have Chris Jones, Myles Garrett, George Karlaftis on the line. Yeah, that's disgusting. And if Ashton Gelati becomes anything, so yeah, one of those two, I'd probably make a trade like that, but it's totally unrealistic.
I would trade for Justin Jefferson.
I mean, shit, I don't blame you at all.
That's the route I would go. I would want an elite playmaker, especially the fact that Justin Jefferson being on the Chiefs to beat Jamar Chase every year would be fun. Watching those two boys go at it in the same division, I would definitely love that. And then just having Justin Jefferson's prowess and offensive genius and abilities on this Chief offense would just be, I mean, it would be limitless what we could do with that guy. Just his skill set in this offense and his size and his height and his ability in the red zone would just be something that would unlock even maybe a new level for Patrick Mahomes, because he still has never had a guy like that. He's had Tyreek Hill, who's dynamic after the catch, but a guy like Justin Jefferson, just a do-it-all guy, I would make that trade if we can make something like that happen in an ideal thing for me, if I could dream. So, yeah, that's probably what I would do, a guy like that. Julia Gulia, have y'all heard of any movement on Trey's contract, and has Norman Lott signed yet?
I don't know about Norman Lott signing. I know that's going to happen, though, at training camp. I'm not worried about Norman Lott signing, just like I'm not worried about Trey Smith. From every indication we're getting from people with sources, Trey Smith is going to sign right around the deadline, which is July 15th. Once he reports to camp, which we all know he's going to because he signed his franchise tag as soon as it was put on him, there's no ill will or bad blood between him and the Chiefs. They want to get this deal done, and they're going to get this deal done because they're also the only team that has a player currently on the franchise tag. Clark Hunt did not want to use the franchise tag, but they kind of had to, so that way they keep Trey Smith out of the market entirely. So that's the only reason they did this. It's going to get done. If I was a betting man, I would say within the next 7 to 8 days, it's probably when it's going to get done. And you're going to see him become the highest paid guard in the NFL. And it's going to be a contract that we all are going to be very happy about, because Trey Smith needs to be here next to Creed Humphrey for the foreseeable future, because they are a tandem. And but the Norman Lott one hasn't even gone on my radar at all. I know why the Trey Smith one has; it makes sense.
Yeah.
But the Norman Lott one, I'm not worried about at all. From what I've heard, there's nothing bad about it. Just finalizing, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, shit like that.
Yeah, sitting him in a chair, taping him down, putting him at gunpoint, things like that.
Simple shit.
Max Watson throws in a comment too. I would trade for Bijan Robinson. I fucking love that.
I have an affinity for
that. Would be
Robinson.
Nuts. He's a perfect running back for this offense.
And I would give up anything but a first-round pick to get him.
Yeah,
I'm not giving a first-round pick for a running back.
A guy like him, or a guy like what's his name from Detroit?
Oh God, Jahmyr Gibbs.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Oh dear God, yes.
One of those two in this offense would be absolutely bananas. Jahmyr Gibbs is insane. He's still underrated in my opinion.
I know a lot of people always try to find the next guy
that
resembles him, but he truly does resemble Jamal Charles.
Jamal Charles, dude.
He plays so much like Jamal Charles.
Yeah.
So yes, I'd rock with that 100%.
Yeah.
Like,
he would. I don't even think you'd have to give up as much to get a guy like him. Probably pretty close.
Joe Cunningham says Breece Hall. I like Breece. The injuries are what concern me though, and if I'm trading for Breece, I'm not giving anything over a third-round pick.
Yeah,
because of the injury concerns. He is young. He's super talented. I'm with you on that.
Julius says Lance would shove McDuffie out the door.
I knew that was coming.
Just take him. We'll take Breece. Fuck out of here, Trent. That's messed up, man.
Oh, shit.
I was waiting for that.
I know. I know Julia's going to... She's like just anger typing it as we're talking about this shit. Thanks for setting me up on that, Dustin.
Oh, man. Justin Norton, who had harder competition, Brady or Mahomes? I think that needs to be looked at as well.
Well, okay, this is something I've thought about too, because I've been like, as the years have been going on, I've been kind of building my case for why Patrick Mahomes is the greatest ever, and I have a lot of reasons, obviously. And one of the biggest ones that people are going to be looking at is competition.
Yeah.
So I looked at it and I go, okay, everybody talks about how Tom Brady played in a better era of quarterbacks. But what I find funny, though, is if we're going to go that route, the question I would ask is, okay, who's the best competition Brady ever faced from a quarterback? And I think everybody, and I don't want to speak for everybody, I do think that everybody confidently would say Peyton Manning, right? Peyton Manning's probably the best quarterback that Tom Brady faced against before Patrick Mahomes. Okay, so if we're going to go that route, then we have to say this. Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady in the AFC Championship went 3-1. So are we going to sit here and say that Peyton Manning has the upper hand on Tom Brady in a certain regard? Because I don't think anybody wants to do that. But then we look at this era, and we look at, there's no question that Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow are all more talented individuals than Peyton Manning. You'd agree with that, right? as individuals, as a single entity, they are more talented as an athlete than Peyton Manning. Patrick Mahomes has destroyed and dismantled and dominated all three of them throughout his entire playoff career. Joe Burrow has the one win. That's because the Chiefs donated an 18-point choke job.
Yep. The worst moment of Patrick Mahomes' career.
Outside of that, he's owned these guys. None of them have beaten him outside of that game. So if we're looking at competition, you could say that the competition is pretty adequate or pretty equal, but Patrick Mahomes has been dominating his, where the domination on the other side for Brady wasn't there because Peyton Manning beat him 3 out of 4 times in the AFC Championship.
I personally, you drop Lamar Jackson into 2003, 2004. I don't think those guys would know what to do with Lamar Jackson.
Because Michael Vick's not as good as Lamar Jackson.
No,
and look what they did with him.
He wasn't even as dynamic of a runner. Lamar Jackson, the most dynamic runner. I think him and then Cam Newton are the two most dynamic, and then Josh Allen probably the top 3, and then Michael Vick. That's my tight list.
Jay Daniels is climbing.
Well, we haven't seen enough, but
no,
yes,
you're right,
I think he might be even better thrower of the football, which is fucking insane to say. Jay Daniels has arrived. That guy's insane. But yes, I think just the evolution of these athletes, man, alone. You drop Josh Allen back then. I mean, what the fuck are they doing? You know what I mean?
Right.
They didn't have
There's
that.
no way.
They didn't have even Cam Newton.
Right.
You know what I mean? And Cam Newton went head-to-head with Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl and whatever. But, like, I think the competition as far as talent pool, it's not even close in my opinion.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, Tom Brady, for him to win a ring in this era, in Mahomes' era, he had to have an absolutely ridiculously stacked team.
Right.
That team from top to bottom was one of the best rosters of all time in that Tampa Bay team. That defense and the offensive weapons he had, insane.
Yep.
And you just throw in Antonio Brown for fun. Like, the fuck? It's a Hall of Fame player just to throw him in for fun during that run, too. It's crazy. But, yeah, in my personal opinion, I think, especially in the AFC, especially in the division of Patrick Mahomes that he's played in, the AFC wasn't nearly as talented in Tom Brady's time in the AFC as far as his division goes, quarterback-wise. The AFC has been where all the best quarterbacks have been most of Patrick Mahomes' career.
Right.
So far. You know what I mean? It's loaded. So, let alone what the division that Patrick Mahomes has to play in. There was a couple years, obviously, the AFC West was pretty bad, but the last couple seasons, last 2-3 seasons, and especially with the coaching that's been, developing over here in the AFC West, it's not even close, the challenge that he has within his own division year in, year out, compared to what Tom Brady went through. So,
Give a shout out real quick to our buddy Dustin Orton. He said he had to take his kiddo to urgent care. He will finish later on the podcast. Yeah, man, our thoughts are with you for sure, brother. I hope everything's going good with the kiddo. Stay safe out there, brother. Let us know how things are going. Give us an update when you can. Shout out to our guys over at All Chiefed Up. They're in the comments as well. Those are my brothers over there, the Williams brothers. Like I said, just got done doing a little sesh with them. Had a fun time recording an episode you guys will see in the near future. They said Mahomes is the GOAT. Everyone knows it. They just don't want to admit it. That's kind of where I'm at as well, guys, because
it's uncomfortable, man.
And that's why I started the whole show. If you guys missed the first segment, I would ask that you kindly, after the show's over today, go back and listen to that first segment or watch the first segment. I just break down the comparisons to show how dishonest the national media and the national landscape really is when it comes to Patrick Mahomes, and how they flip the narrative once he starts doing the things that Tom Brady and Joe Montana did in their time, and how those guys were hailed as the GOATs in their time because of those things.
Yeah,
but
I think that's the question.
Yeah.
What else does Patrick Mahomes need to do?
Please, I would love to know.
To enter the chat.
Yeah.
For Patrick Mahomes to enter the GOAT chat, what else does he need to do?
Or just stay as the best quarterback in the league.
Create a better resume in the first 7 years of someone's career.
Right. What is he got to do right now to stay as the best quarterback in the league? Like, please
name
tell
a better start.
And because you're the ones that are saying that he's not the best quarterback anymore, or questioning it, please explain to me what Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, or any other quarterback you want to present as the best. What are they doing that Patrick Mahomes isn't?
Well, just wait until Patrick Mahomes at the end of his career took 10 years off from going to the Super Bowl.
Right.
Just wait.
Right.
Just wait till that happens. As if it's going to happen. Wait till there's a decade where he doesn't step a foot on a Super Bowl gridiron.
5 Super Bowl appearances in 7 seasons. And honestly, it should have been 6 of 7. Well, honestly, 7 of 7 were being real.
Insane, bro.
A D Ford offsides and a choke job against Joe Burrow. The Chiefs were in 7 straight Super Bowls. Like, think about how fucking insane that is.
Bro.
It wasn't a wild card upset. It wasn't a divisional round blowout that they lost. It was like this one-off. No, they've literally been in the AFC Championship every single season. This is why when people say, Patrick Mahomes benefits off having Andy Reid. No shit. When you have a great head coach, you're going to benefit off that. But what I find funny is no one wants to talk about the fact that in 19 seasons previous of having Patrick Mahomes as his quarterback, Andy didn't win a damn Super Bowl, but in 7 seasons with him, he's won 3. So almost 50% of his seasons with Patrick Mahomes, he's won the damn thing.
And once you make that point, and they want to pivot to Travis Kelce.
Okay, so then how about this? Gronkowski had Tom Brady his entire career.
Yeah.
And I talked about this on Twitter as well about Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce with Alex Smith was averaging 83 catches for 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns. That is on track to be a Hall of Fame tight end. When Patrick Mahomes took over, Travis Kelce went from being a potential Hall of Famer to the best we've ever seen.
So what's the common denominator here?
What are we doing?
Bro, like, what are we doing?
What are we doing, man? I mean, the Chiefs, I think, would have 7 or 8 playoff wins in their entire postseason history before Patrick Mahomes. They have 17 with them. They had a losing record in the postseason with him. They're above 500 now. Like, guys, what more do we need to see from this man? Why, again, the burden of proof is on those that make the accusation.
Just let it happen, guys.
Just let it happen.
Just let it happen.
Give in.
Give in. You can't fight anymore.
Yeah.
Stop fighting.
Unbutton it. You know what I mean?
Just let it happen, fellas. The more you fight.
Oh, my God.
All right. So, James C. Kirk with the next question. Lance, do you think Canty said what he said just because he doesn't buy into excuses?
I mean, again, the excuses are going to be falling on Canty's ass when Patrick Mahomes does what he's supposed to do every single year this year.
Gonna beat his Canty ass.
Yeah. Nice. Well done. You've been on those today, man. But no, what excuse? Okay, there's a difference between excuses and reasons. Patrick Mahomes not having any legitimate receivers last season is not an excuse. That's a reason. You're going to tell me right now, if Patrick Mahomes had a healthy Rashee Rice and Hollywood Brown, he throws for less than 4,000 yards?
Fuck out of here. Yeah.
He throws for less than 30 touchdowns? Like, what, guys, these aren't excuses. Excuses is me searching for things and making kind of a narrative out of something that isn't actually based in fact. That's an excuse. Because I could say, let's say I was like 20 minutes late to the show today. I go, well, dude, I mean, yesterday I had so much going on. I was tired, and I didn't sleep good last night. That's an excuse. A reason would be, hey, Trevor, on the way to the studio today, I got T-boned. That's a reason for why I was late. So when we talk about Patrick Mahomes,
that was out of your control.
Exactly. Yeah. Reasons are things you can't control. Reasons are things that are sometimes out of our pay grade. Patrick Mahomes didn't control all the problems he's had around him for the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, the Bills' inability to beat the Chiefs in the postseason, Lamar Jackson's inability to put the Chiefs away in the postseason, that's their fault.
Yes.
That's in their control.
Right.
Stop giving Patrick Mahomes the ball with the chance to win the game
every
goddamn time.
And stop making bullshit excuses for them not being able to beat Patrick Mahomes. Well, he's got Andy Reid. Yeah. He's got Sean McDermott. I'm sorry. How many times, sure, before the season did we see people picking the Bills to win the Super Bowl? Or the Chargers to win the division?
If anything, they're making excuses. They're making excuses for all the other quarterbacks and avoiding the reasons why Patrick Mahomes is the best.
Right, and then when the Chiefs just continue to beat these teams, they then fall back on that lazy narrative. Yeah. When again, most of these people are picking those teams to beat the Chiefs ahead of time.
Every time.
But it's well, of course they won because they have this, or now it's the refs. Even though I have shown the numbers, Trevor, literally.
The goalpost, bro.
Yes, I saw Jason McIntyre of the Herd last week say that if you even breathe on Patrick Mahomes, he gets a roughing the passer penalty. I showed the stat on Twitter to literally show, guys, there are 7 quarterbacks over the last 3 seasons that have gotten more roughing the passer penalties than Patrick Mahomes. 7! And you know who's number 2 on that list? Josh Allen. Weird.
That's weird.
Joe
Cunningham. Kingsley is our second best guard. Worried about that.
That's a legitimate worry to have. I think, though, when you have the talent of Kingsley with the coaching of Joe Cullen and I'm sorry, Andy Heck. I said Joe Cullen, that's defensive line. Andy Heck and Andy Reid, I think it's going to work. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. Am I saying that it's going to? No, because I don't know that for certain. But I think that overcoming issues at guard is a lot easier than overcoming issues at left tackle, and the Chiefs have been able to do that. The Chiefs have had 5 Super Bowl appearances in the Mahomes era, and not one of those Super Bowl appearances was with the same left tackle. Think about how insane that is. They have not had, in a dynasty, what was the last dynasty of any sport where they didn't have the same starting center You know what I mean? Where they won 3 or 4 NBA championships, and they won the same starting shooting guard every single time. Like, think about how insane that would be. That's the equivalence of what the Chiefs have been able to do. So I think if they can overcome that in a worst case scenario of Kingsley not being the guy we think he could be, I think the Chiefs would find a way to overcome it.
We got all cheaped up in the chat again, trying to start some madness. Michael Jordan, him is the GOAT. That's not a feeling, it's a fact. Never forget. I like that there's a laughing emoji because it's not serious. I like that there's a laughing emoji at the end of that because it is a laughable. No, I'm just kidding. It's not laughable. It's your opinion. That's fine. But we all know the truth. Stop fighting it. Let it happen.
I think Steve and Mike want to get you, bro. I think they've been trying to they're asking me after the show, what do we got to get Trevor on? I was like, bro, it's hard to get this dude triggered,
I'll rip
man.
this bad boy off, dude. I'll go full Monty in this bitch.
Full Monty. That's a spoken after dark, bro.
Yeah.
That's for the special
just
account.
a silhouette of me swanging.
Is that a fingernail? What is that thing?
That's a Olive Garden breadstick, baby. All you can eat. Oh shit. Dustin Norton, speak it. Mahomes not counted. Who is our offensive MVP and defensive MVP for the Chiefs this season? Do you want to wait on that?
If everything goes as well, man, it's tough to give any receiver that because they're gonna rely on Patrick Mahomes directly.
Yep.
I think it's gonna have to be somebody either on the offensive line or in the backfield. I think if a running back has a big year, you can make that case. I'm not expecting any of the running backs to have like monster seasons, so I'm probably going to go with somebody on the offensive line.
I think it's got to be Travis Kelce.
Well, you say
as
that
crazy as that is. I mean, it's between him and Xavier Worthy because we don't know about Rashee Rice. It could be Hollywood Brown, but I wouldn't say MVP.
But that's what I'm saying because I have a hard time because they say outside of Patrick Mahomes, the receiver players rely on him to get the ball though. So it's going to be kind of hard for me to give them the MVP when they have to have the ball through Patrick Mahomes.
But if Kelce at this age leads the team in receptions, yards, and touchdowns, maybe not yards. He probably won't leave in yards, but
yeah, and probably not touchdowns either. But that's
he could.
Yeah,
he could receiving touchdowns. He definitely could this year.
I'm going to say one of the offensive linemen. I'm going to say it's probably going to be. Oof. Well, the reason why is because they're the ones that are directly impacting the play before Patrick makes a play. You know what I mean? Like.
If one of these left tackles takes off and is dominant this year, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? Or even a Creed Humphrey, because if Creed Humphrey has another All-Pro year, and you're asking me, hey, outside of Patrick Mahomes, who was the most important guy?
Or say Kingsley fills into that right or that left guard.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's going to be one of the offensive linemen. If these offensive linemen are clicking and they're doing their job, and Patrick Mahomes stays healthy, and you're asking me this question, I'm going to say, well,
if a fully rested, ready to go Kareem Hunt goes bonkers this year, which not likely, but
that's what I'm saying.
You give him a full offseason to actually prepare for a football
Pacheco
season.
goes off for 1,100 yards, which would be a career year.
That could happen.
1,100 yards, 9 touchdowns. I've been saying, hey, look, this guy offset the offense, kept it balanced, took pressure off Patrick Mahomes where Patrick didn't have to throw the ball 900 times. That could be an MVP. You know what I mean? Something like that. But I can't put it to receiver because, like I said, they rely solely on Patrick Mahomes.
Dark horse is Jalen Royals. Just thrown out of it.
I got to see the guy play real football first.
I know. Ominahu, this is Julia Gulia, by the way. Julia Gulia says, Ominahu posted a video talking about he's ready for a big season. Should I feel better about our pass rush this year?
Yes, I do. I genuinely think we should feel good about the pass rush this year because I'll be honest with you, I don't think it could have been much more meh than it was last year. It was so goddamn vanilla
for him,
last
man.
year.
Like, damn.
Ominahu's trying to get a big contract, and we know the contract seasons are undefeated. You also know that George Karlaftis is fighting for that next big deal. I think you're going to see some hungry dudes. Jalati, I like the kid a lot. I know he's a third-round pick, so it's a lot to expect out of a third-round pass rusher. But there are the exceptions. He plays a lot like Karlaftis, had the same coaching as Karlaftis. I'm expecting Jalati to play his role in this defense. I told you, him and Noel Williams are the two guys I'm watching out of this entire draft class that I'm the biggest on. I think those two guys will play real roles in this defense. And so, yes, I do think there are adequate reasons to believe and buy into this pass rush this year because also the secondary got better. And when the secondary plays well, the pass rush plays well. When the pass rush plays well, the secondary plays well. It's all in unison. So, yes, I'm expecting Spagnuolo, Joe Cullen, I said it right this time, Joe Cullen to have his role in bettering this upfront pressure. And Chris Jones, I think, will have a better season as well, and we'll keep this bad boy rolling. Because, Chris Jones, it's a weird thing he does. It's like every other season. Like, if you go look at his career stats, it's like almost a pattern of like big year sack-wise, down year sack-wise, humongous year sack-wise, really bad year sack. Oh, then it's good again. Oh, it's okay. Like, he has these weird patterns. I think that Chris Jones is going to be in the double-digit sack column again.
That would be...
Yeah.
I would love to see that. James C. Kurt, didn't Pittsburgh just give T.J. Watt a new contract a couple of years ago? Would you trade him for draft capital?
I don't think it was a couple of years ago. I want to say it was like 2021.
Yeah.
Then they gave him that extension.
Yeah,
it was a massive extension. He's going to be a free agent after 2025. And if they're asking me, would I trade for him? No, I wouldn't right now. I know that sounds crazy.
I think he's saying if you were Pittsburgh, would you trade him for draft capital?
Oh, no, I would not this year because you went and got Rodgers for a reason.
Yeah.
It's to contend.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't make sense to go and get Aaron Rodgers, go and trade for DK Metcalf.
Trade your best player on your team.
Yeah, and then trade TJ Watt in his prime.
Yeah.
So, no, I wouldn't trade him. I would try to figure out a way to keep him. But it's going to be interesting because TJ Watt will be 32 next season.
And he's a guy that continually gets hurt every season. Almost. Misses time every year.
I don't blame the Steelers for kind of being reserved, even though he's so great.
He's incredible.
I wouldn't sign up a 3 or 4 year deal for TJ Watt, even if let's say the Steelers donated TJ Watt to the Chiefs right now. They're like, hey, you don't have to trade us anything. We're just giving you him. I wouldn't give him an extension.
Yeah.
Because he's only as great as he is right now. He's not going to gradually get better. He's in his 30s.
Yeah, he's already peaked. He's already
at his best. So, yeah.
For sure. Last question so far. Julia Gulia, which position group on average is the deepest every year? Are you saying for the Chiefs or are you saying for in general? Probably the Chiefs.
Yeah, if we're doing the Chiefs, and it's cornerback, defensive back. Brett Veach has thrown so many resources at that position, and if you notice, he hits late in the draft on a lot of guys, and that's why you saw Joshua Williams, Jalen Watson, Trey McDuffie, Brian Cook, Shamari Connor, guys like that, like play big roles immediately in their careers. Immediately. They helped this team win the Super Bowls, get to Super Bowls immediately. Like, how crazy is it to think, guys, last season, Trent McDuffie, Joshua Williams, Jalen Watson, and Brian Cook lost their first playoff game.
That is wild.
They have they have two Super Bowl wins, one playoff loss in their careers. They have more Super Bowl victories, more Super Bowl rings than losses, playoff losses. That is insane. So I think that Brett Veach has done a hell of a job at cornerback, defensive back as a whole. That is, I think, by far his best depth that they have built over the last 5 to 7 years.
That is it for the questions. I appreciate you guys.
Great questions, guys. A lot of fun, man. Every single time. Yeah, good times. Yeah, we always have a good time talking with you guys, no matter what it is. And real quick, John Harrison said, just got on. Hope everyone had a good 4th and kept all their fingers. John, it's good to have you back, buddy. We miss you, man. We got to get you during the football season. You got to be our statistician, bro.
We are definitely fully phalangeed over here.
Yeah, we have all the digits, bub.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, anyway, definitely thank you guys so much. Tell you at the top of the show, tell you at the bottom of the show, get on YouTube, Spoken Podcast. Hit us up in the comment box. The most important thing, guys. We very much appreciate it. We're almost at 600 subscribers on YouTube. Let's get there today, and then let's get to 1,000 soon, guys. We'd really appreciate it. Tell your friends about us. Very much appreciate it. Trevor, we have one more order of business to get to. What is it called? Hold this L. Each and every episode, we finish off every single episode with a series of L's in the world of sports. Whether those L's are friendly L's or not so friendly L's in the world of sports, we promise you, whoever is holding the L's in the world of sports deserve those L's in the world of sports. Trevor Twidwell, who's holding the L for you this week?
All right, so my L, and I have a W as well first. They're married to each other. So my W is going to go to Ilia Topuria. I watched that fight live. I watched all 3 of his last 3 fights live. The back-to-back-to-back victories over knockouts.
Yeah.
Against the 3 greatest in these weight classes. Alexander Volkanovski, Max Holloway, who's never been knocked out before, and then Charles Oliveira, who's never been knocked out before. It's honestly, it could be argued that this is the greatest 3-fight run
in succession
we've ever seen, while winning 2 belts. I haven't felt so much respect and admiration for a fighter in a while since Conor McGregor when he did the same thing. A similar run.
I agree.
It was unreal.
Yep.
Granted, he's not the pole that I don't think there ever will be another Conor McGregor as far as like pole. I mean, I remember when Conor was doing his weigh-ins and the house was packed. Never seen it. Not John Jones. Nobody. I've never seen anything like it before in my life. The range he had. But this run is very similar. And I felt watching that fight live. I mean, it was just. I felt like I was watching just pure greatness. And this guy. little dude, man. But it's Josh Emmett even came out. Josh Emmett's the only guy that's won 5 rounds with this guy.
Right.
Josh Emmett's like, I've been hit harder, but the way he hits is just his timing is unreal. His ability to hit you on the button. I mean, he just knocked out Volkanovski, Max Holloway, and Charles Oliveira all, and it's just, I can't not give the guy a W this week after watching what I watched and experiencing the last 3 fights of this guy's career. And he's handsome, and he's got a beautiful wife. He's got a good-looking son. The guy is winning in life. I love seeing it, man. I love stories like this. I love seeing people win like that, and his story that he's creating. And he's 28.
Yep.
28 years old, and this guy has the potential to go down as the pound-for-pound greatest I've ever seen.
It goes quick, so he's got to capitalize.
Yeah, for sure, but he's in a weight class where he doesn't, a lot of these fights are quick.
Yep.
These big heavyweight guys, they tend to fizzle out fast. That's what made John Jones so great, is he was dominant for so long, and no one could take his belt. He defended it against the biggest and the baddest of the bunch. So that's why he's still just the GOAT, period. But this guy's trajectory is unreal, especially this 3-fight streak that he's on is just something. It's special, and I just wanted to give him his time. My L is going to go to Charles Oliveira, though. After knowing what he just did to your peers, Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway, especially what he just did to Max Holloway, someone who's kind of in the same vein as himself, as Oliveira. The guy's very strategic, keeps his strategies are always so just honed in and smart about who he's fighting. And I get it. I know Oliveira's getting long in the tooth. He's been around. He's done this a long time. But there's a reason he's been able to do this a long time. Is because he's very tactful and smart and strategic about how who he's fighting. The game plan was absolute ass.
Yeah.
I mean, he was letting Topuria get inside.
Toe to toe.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It was a terrible. It almost felt rigged.
Yeah.
But that's how great Topuria is. He can make you think that Oliveira's throwing a fight. That's how great the guy is. But at the same time, I couldn't believe, because I've watched almost every single, if not every single fight of his career, Oliveira's career. And this was just it was bizarre. I know he's getting older and he's done this a long time. He's taken a lot of, beating over his career, but he's also one of the greats to ever do this. And it just felt it was embarrassing, honestly, his game plan. And I blame his coaches, let alone with just himself, but it seemed like he truly underestimated the man that just knocked out Max Holloway and Alexander. Like, how do you come in so unprepared? It was just bizarre, and it was a terrible game plan. He was open the whole time. He tried a couple takedowns that were honestly terrible. Missed on both of the opportunities to take him down, because I think that was his best opportunity to make it a good fight, is getting him to the ground. But the takedown attempts were trash. I was very disappointed in I mean, there's a reason he got knocked out in the first round, the first 2.5 minutes of the fight. So, yeah, for that, Oliveira, just do me a solid favor here, man, and hold this L.
I cannot.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe how bad his strategy was.
Well, this run from Topuria is just, like I said, it's otherworldly. And
that's why I had to give him the W first.
Yeah, I can only compare it to John Jones and what he did early in his career against like Shogun Rua,
right?
And those guys when he was just running through Machida. And,
bro, that's why this Islam fight is.
Yeah,
I know they were trying to hype up the Paddy Pimblett thing. That's not.
I almost gave
Paddy doesn't
Rogan
deserve
that though, because Rogan fucked up on that.
Well, he didn't call him up.
He did. That's why Dana was pissed.
Well, he pointed him out.
Yeah,
but
because now that fight's not happening, and it really they promote a.
Well, and I love Paddy. Don't get me wrong. I love Paddy. I think he's on his way.
Would whoop his ass.
It would be a good fight, I think. But Paddy doesn't deserve that yet.
No,
he's not there yet.
He's had one Paramount
Islam
fight.
is the guy.
Yeah, Paddy's had one Paramount fight. It was against a 39-year-old Michael Chandler.
Right. Islam is the guy. Islam, yeah. So, yeah, that was a weird occurrence.
Yeah, I didn't really understand it.
Didn't like that very much, but I love Paddy. I think that would be a great draw, and I would get a lot of eyeballs.
Sure.
I think Paddy's kind of on his way to kind of be carrying a little bit of that McGregor charisma.
Sure.
He kind of has that same, that way about him. So, but yeah, Islam's the fight, and I'm very excited about that one.
Choices are what make us who we are, if we're being honest. And especially as men, I don't want to single the ladies out here, but you guys can answer for yourselves. I can only speak for myself as a guy. They say like you're only as good as your word. And when you, I don't want to sound so cliche here, but when you sign a contract or you agree with a contract, you probably should honor that contract. You know, if you come to an agreement, you haven't signed it yet, but you've come to a gentleman's agreement, you should keep it. Well, we all know how that went in 2021 after the Chiefs lose to the Bengals and Tyreek Hill and the Chiefs come to an agreement for an extension. And then Tyreek Hill decided to back out and ask for more money because Devontae Adams got more money with the Raiders. And we all know how that went. Tyreek Hill ended up going to the Dolphins. And for the last 3 seasons, the Chiefs have been to 3 Super Bowls. And Tyreek Hill has made the playoffs once. Or I think, what was it, once or twice? And they've gotten their cheeks clapped
twice,
multiple times. And Tyreek Hill has put up some good numbers, got a lot of money, had some fun, been arrested.
Even got ranked number 1 in the NFL players.
Yeah, congratulations. But if there's one thing we know about Tyreek Hill, it's that he's not happy. And that's never been more truthful or more relevant or more obvious than this week when we heard that Jalen Ramsey, former teammate of Tyreek Hill, got traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers this week. And we saw Tyreek Hill put up a meme in response to this trade, and we can put that on the screen real quick. It is the famous Fresh Prince final episode of everything moved out and everyone's gone, and Fresh Prince, Will Smith's just sitting there, standing there, sad. It's all quiet and open and empty. And that's what Tyreek Hill is basically trying to, insinuate with his situation. Tyreek, this is your fault. You had a chance to keep yourself directly attached to arguably the greatest dynasty and run in NFL history. And you chose a couple million more per year. And that is totally fine. Mm-hmm. You want to go get as much money as you possibly can? Dude, go get it. I said that years ago, and I'll say it right now.
Still miss you, still would welcome you back. But
it would have been awesome to have Tyreek Hill this whole time, because I think the Chiefs would still be winning Super Bowls with Tyreek Hill, because they did it without him. Yeah. It's not easier without Tyreek Hill, right? For Christ's sake. But this is 100% your fault, and for you to sit here and make this a pity party for you, it doesn't make sense, buddy. You did this. No one else. The Chiefs wanted you. They wanted you, man. Like they knew the shit that was coming with you, attached to you in your college career, and they still drafted you. Then paid you again when they didn't have to do that. And what do? You turn around and say, no, I want more money. Trade me. And they could have gotten more out of the trade with the Jets. And they still said, if you want to go to Miami, we'll figure out a trade with Miami. Still ended up killing it in that draft with the trade value they got in return, and have done nothing but get back to Super Bowl since. Buddy, you got only yourself to blame, and for that, you have only one person to blame for this, and that is because you have to hold this to hell. Thank you.
Hate to see it.
12:30, another hour and a half show, man. We haven't been doing a lot of those over the last couple of years, but you know what? Sometimes we just gotta get, and we get done, man. That's what it's all about. We appreciate every single one of you guys for chiming in today, being a part of the discussion. Like I said, that is what we do here. It is not about us talking at you. It is about talking with you. We are a community-driven show, and we always have a blast every single time. That is the way things go. We want you guys to feel like you're a part of the show every single week. So get on YouTube, get in the comment box, hit subscribe, hit notify, hit share, hit all that stuff. We hit all of it. Hit it multiple times if you want to. That's what I recommend. But my point is, I just want to say thanks, and I just want to appreciate you guys for just being a part of the show, and let everybody know about us. Spread the word, because, man, when we get football season's going to be here before we know it, and when we get going, guys, we're going to be getting going. And I want you guys to be a part of that as well. Get your guys' thoughts, opinions, takes, comments, concerns, questions, all of it. But in the meantime, I hope, like we said earlier, I hope you guys are having a great 4th of July weekend. Stay safe, stay cool. I'm going to try to do both. I don't know if I will be able to, but regardless, let's have fun. You guys enjoy your time off, and let's get back to this next week. But in the meantime, for episode 318 of the Spoken Podcast, done, finished, and finito, for the great Trevor Twidwell, for the great Clay Wendler at Red Tribe Cinema, the entire Starcade Media family, I am Lance Twidwell. We out of this bitch.
Later.